We often look at people in expensive suits, driving nice cars, or leading teams in boardrooms, and we assume their lives are perfect. We assume success protects you from survival mode. But today's story proves that the line between having it all and losing everything is razor thin. This is a confession from a woman who managed a multi-million-dollar department by day and slept in a Walmart parking lot by night. It's a story about the shame of poverty, the weight of appearances, and the sheer, unbreakable will of a woman who refused to let the world see her bleed. Here is her story. I wear a $2,000 tailored suit to work every single day. I have a corner office with a view of the skyline. My team of 30 people calls me the Iron Lady because I never miss a deadline, never show weakness, and never take a sick day. Last year, I earned a bonus that most people would consider a full year's salary. But for 8 months of that year, I was homeless. I didn't lose my job, I didn't have a drug problem, I wasn't down on my luck in the way people imagine. I was the victim of a perfect storm, a brutal divorce that froze my assets and a sudden medical crisis that my insurance refused to cover. To the outside world, I was a success story. To the night security guard at the 24-hour gym where I showered every morning, I was just the weird lady who arrived at 4:30 a.m. It happens faster than you think. One day, you are co-signing a mortgage for a dream house. The next, your husband has emptied the joint accounts, fled the country with his mistress, and left you with debt that feels like a physical weight on your chest. I tried to save the house. That was my mistake. I poured every paycheck into legal fees and mortgage payments, convinced I could fix it. By the time the foreclosure notice came, I had zero savings. My credit score had tanked. No landlord would rent me in the city where I worked. I had a choice: quit my high-paying job and move to a cheaper state, admitting defeat, or keep the job, keep the income, and sacrifice my comfort to dig myself out. I chose the job. I put my furniture in storage, I packed 2 suitcases, and I moved into my Honda Civic. Nobody tells you how much work it takes to be homeless while pretending to be rich. It is a full-time job on top of your full-time job. Every morning, my alarm went off at 4 a.m., not because I'm a grind-set CEO, but because I had to move my car before the store managers arrived. I would drive to the 24-hour gym. That gym membership was my lifeline. It was my bathroom, my shower, and my electricity source. I learned to blow-dry my hair in the locker room without making eye contact. I learned to iron my silk blouses using a hair straightener plugged into the vanity outlet. I learned to apply luxury makeup in the harsh fluorescent light of a communal bathroom, masking the dark circles under my eyes from sleeping upright in a driver's seat. By 8 a.m., I was at my desk, sipping an espresso, leading meetings. My coworkers would complain about traffic or their contractors being late or their kids' private school tuition. I would nod and smile. I would say things like, "Oh, I'm just downsizing right now, staying in a temporary place while I look for the perfect condo." It wasn't a lie. My temporary place just happened to have 4 wheels and no heating. The hardest part wasn't the discomfort. It was the paranoia, the shame. There was one night in November. It was freezing. I had parked in a quiet industrial park because the police had started patrolling the Walmart lot. I was wrapped in 3 sleeping bags in the back seat, shivering. Suddenly, a flashlight beam cut through the window. Bam, bam, bam. A police officer was knocking on the glass. My heart didn't just beat, it convulsed. If I got arrested, if I got a ticket, if my company found out, it was all over. The Iron Lady would be exposed as a fraud. I rolled down the window just a crack. The officer shined the light right in my face. I was wearing a beanie, no makeup, terrified. He asked what I was doing. And in that moment, I had to make a choice. Do I beg or do I perform? I put on my boardroom voice, the voice I used to negotiate million-dollar contracts. I told him, "Officer, my vehicle's having engine trouble and I'm waiting for a tow, but I decided to rest my eyes. Is there a problem?" He hesitated. He saw the suits hanging in the back window. He saw the expensive laptop bag on the passenger seat. The visual cues of success confused him. He didn't see a homeless woman. He saw a stranded executive, Just move it along by morning, ma'am," he said, and he left. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I cried until my eyes burned, and then I put on my concealer and went to work. The moment that almost broke me wasn't the police. It was a sandwich. We had a catered lunch at the office. Leftovers. Usually I would wait until everyone left and quietly pack the extra food into Tupperware. That was my dinner. But that day, a junior associate caught me. He laughed and said, "Wow, Sarah, saving money for a new Porsche? You're taking half the platter." He was joking, but I felt like he had slapped me. I was starving. I hadn't eaten a hot meal in 3 days. I looked at him holding this tray of turkey wraps, and I realized I am one bad day away from screaming. I went to the bathroom, locked the stall, and ate a wrap as fast as I could, shaking. I promised myself right there, never again. I will not live like this forever. I lived in that car for 8 months and 12 days. I saved 90% of my paycheck. I paid off the lawyer. I paid off the medical debt. I repaired my credit score point by agonizing point. I remember the day I signed the lease for my new apartment. It wasn't fancy. It was a 1-bedroom walk-up, but it had a key and a bed and a refrigerator. When I turned the key in the lock for the first time, I didn't celebrate. I just sat on the floor in the empty living room and slept for 14 hours straight. Nobody at work ever knew. To this day, they think I just moved neighborhoods. They admire my discipline. They ask me how I stay so focused. They don't know that my focus comes from terror. It comes from knowing that the safety net doesn't exist unless you weave it yourself. Reflective outro. The confession. I am sharing this because I know I am not alone. I know there are other people out there, nurses, teachers, managers, who are sleeping in their cars tonight, terrified of being found out. We carry the shame because society tells us that poverty is a character flaw. We think if we lose our house, we lose our dignity. But I am here to tell you, I am the same woman who slept in the Honda Civic as the one who sits in the corner office. I am not ashamed anymore. I am proud. I survived the winter. I survived the silence. And I saved myself. If you are going through hell right now, keep walking. Put on the suit, do the work, and know that your current situation is not your final destination. This has been Confessions Unpacked. If this story resonated with you, or if you hold a secret survival story of your own, let us know in the comments. Respect to the survivors. See you in the next one.